5 minutes after 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago on this Friday. Well, we continue to observe Indian Arrival Month with our Trinidad Bhojpuri sessions with the founder of Caribbean Hindustani, Dr. Vishwam Bimal. We started last Friday. Today is session number 2. And let's begin with a pre-recorded video conversation and then bring in Dr. Bimal for today's lesson plan. Let's go to that now.
तो हर आजा आजी नाना नानी के बारे में
नानी नाना सब मर गई है, अब नावा कोई
ये सब मुलुक से
हाँ सब मुलुक खाई है, चीनी चाल ही आए, बहुत बड़ा उल्लू आदमी रहा, अकेले ना रहा कि हम चीनी
काहे ऐसे बोले,
इतना आदमी दुनिया से जाए हुआ कितना चीनी चाली, उस सब के अकेले ना रहा,
तो उकर नाम का रहा, नाना नानी आजा
नानी नाना के हम ना जाने, हमारे बाप जब वहाँ से देश से आए तब बाप हमके ना बोले लोकल बाप के नाम यहाँ जब आए.
Well, he vexed that they came here based on that reaction. Dr. Vishwam, it's interesting that you presented that with that dialogue, but like he still have it against them for coming here just to cut cane. Good morning to you.
सीताराम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम. और हमके बहुत देर हो गए मांगी बोले हमार सबन मुसलमान लोग के ईद मुबारक.
Thank you very much for your kind greetings.
So yes, and it was quite interesting, that dialogue, because he was actually blaming them for coming and saying that well, they couldn't do anything else. So it's quite interesting, the perspectives of descendants of the indentured laborers. In these various interviews I did, what I want you to notice is what was in the background, because that's going to bring out the theme for today. You saw what was like a long-time kitchen. Remember, in the Indian diaspora, the kitchen was never inside the house. It was usually an attachment outside made with galvanized, as you saw in this case. So we're going to focus on some of that in the expressions today.
All right, well, let's get going immediately, because we don't want to be old talking, and then we run out of our work plan this morning, which I am often guilty of taking you in many different directions. So let's move along with our expressions as we have them up now. So take us through it. We're talking about the kitchen or the rasoya. So let's talk about it now.
Right. Now, I want to... Of interest is that, remember, we spoke about the Caribbean Hindustani languages, which would be in Guyana, Suriname, and Trinidad. I grew up with my grandmother saying rasoi, right? Or rasoya. But when I went to Suriname, they say kukuru, right? Which actually comes from Sarnantao. Fazir, just to make it interesting, because I guess the word's very familiar to you and the audience, you could probably... I didn't put the meaning for a reason, because I wanted to show how these words actually present in our Trinidad English Creole, and we understand most of them. So you could probably go through the list starting from the first one.
That's bonje. That's bonje. And to tell you the truth, Doc, bonje, I'm not too clear. But I know a chonky, when you chonky the pot. I know that when you turn the spices and you heat and the oil and you're frying up all the spices and so on. But bonje.
So bonje is bonje.
Bonje, yeah.
There's normally, actually within the diaspora and even in Trinidad in general, here you want the bonje a pot by the river.
Right.
Bonje a curry duck or bonje a curry goat, right? So, and you know, there's a song that goes Bhunje de Lawa.
Correct.
Bhunje de Lawa, Dulahin and Dulaha. So, Bhunje actually describes what the imagery that comes up with the pot, the curry, and roasting the curry and burning it a little bit before you put in whatever you're going to make, whatever tarkari you're going to make, right? So, Bhunje means to roast or to patch. As in the context of the Lawa for the wedding, it means to actually pop the rice paddy. That rice paddy pops just like popcorn. So I'm not sure for all your viewers, but these are imagery. These are the imagery I get from my childhood with regard to this word. Chonke. A lot of people say chonke. Chonke. Chonke you specifically do as cooking whenever you make chokha or dal. You take what is called a kalchul or a ladle. You put oil in it and you fry up whether it be onion, garlic, jeera, which is cumin, and pepper. You fry it up a little bit in that ladle, and then you throw it in the dal, or you throw it in what is to be chokha, right? So it means to season, really, right? So and you realize we add in certain words to each verb. So bhunje takari, and you chonke dal, and you chonke chokha, right? Okay, the next one, you could say.
No, you know what I'm going to suggest? Doc, because I'm going to get almost everything wrong and pronounce it incorrectly, you take us through, and then I will tell you where I actually know about it or I don't know about it. So,
okay.
So you go ahead.
So the next one is bele. I think the average Trini knows what is bele. Bele is to roll out, as in dough, and you bele with a belna, a rolling pin. And what you bele, usually loya, to make roti, right? A loya is the dough, actually, the balls of dough that you use to roll out. And then everybody knows get licks with the bilna, right? Not in this current time.
Hopefully not anymore. Hopefully not anymore.
Exactly, right? Seke is the next one. You seke the roti on the tawa. Seke. Now, seke means exactly what you're doing that. You're baking the dough on the tawa itself, but you could use it as in to warm or to heat. So like even in winter time in places in India where you have winter, normally you seke your hands in front of an open fire, right? Which is warm your hands in front of an open fire. So it's really to warm or to bake, right?
Okay.
Punke. I'm sure your viewers know what a pukani is. A pukani.
Really?
Yeah. So a pukani is the pipe you use to blow to catch the fire up in the chulha, right? And pukani comes from punke, and punke sounds is an onomatopoeia. When you blow, it sounds like pu, punke, right? Means to blow.
Right.
And you blow the pukani to catch the fire up in the chula, right?
The chulha, for those who are not aware, would be the dirt oven that would be very, very distinctive in many rural areas.
Yes. And actually a lot of chutney with salacious metaphors as to pukani. If your viewers listen to chutney.
That is why I didn't want to say anything because when you mentioned, I said, look, I stayed far away from that one this morning.
Yeah, because you could see the imagery to blow and a pipe.
Correct.
The other one is ghote. Now you wouldn't recognize this here, but everybody know what, I think most people know what is a swizzle stick or a dal ghotni.
Correct.
Right. So ghote means to swizzle. A ghotni is something you use to swizzle or the swizzle stick. And you usually swizzle dal with it. So dal ghotni, right?
Correct.
Pise. Anytime a passing girl, you pise in masala. Pise means to grind. And usually you grind something like masala or spices. We did this last week. Khai. Khai means to eat. Sane. Well, this is more, a lot of people in the diaspora usually know it. Sane means to mix. So usually when you're eating Indian food, press food, would that be a puja or Islamic thing? Islamic, like Eid, like yesterday. If you ate on the Sohari leaves, when you eat the food, you sane the food. Sane means to mix.
Mix it up because you're eating with your hands, you mix it with your fingers and so on, so you're mixing up everything. How is it different from bore? Because sane and bore are the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. Bore is actually the stuff, which we will go. Bore means the well mixed and stuff, right?
Okay, right.
It's in between sane and next one dhakole.
Okay.
Now I don't know if any of your viewers know dhakole, but it's also there's a lot of jokes with dhakole, because dhakole means the stuff, like a glutton.
Okay. To stuff your face.
The other one, say again.
To stuff your face, as if you're eating too much.
Exactly, dhakole.
Right. Okay.
Right. Then manje. I'm not sure if anybody might know this, but it means to scour. Right. You remember long ago you would use dry coconut husk with ashes from the chulha and scrub the pots with that, and they come out better than if you use Jif or Axion or any whatever on the market. They shine the pots, right? So manje is scour really, but you use it in the context of to wash. So manje the bartan means to wash the wares or do the dishes.
Right.
Right. And this is a nice one, jhade. I associated with kitchen because you always had a jharu, which is a broom or a kokie broom, to sweep after you finish peel the garlic and whatever else, and you have the stuff on the floor. You use the jharu and you sweep it out. Now, a lot of people know jhare as to exercise.
That's what I was going to, because I said, what jare are you doing in the kitchen? Because jare is, to say a prayer over somebody to remove the spirits and so on.
Right. And that's why I added this word. Now, jhare means to sweep. And that's how you get the word jharu, which is a broom. If you notice that people who jhare, sometimes they use a broom made of peacock feathers, or they actually use pieces of the kokie broom, right? It is this. It literally means to sweep, yes, but to sweep out negative forces or evil spirits that might be in a person. So even though jhare actually means to sweep, as in to sweep the floor, you use it in a metaphorical context now of that spiritual practice to remove negative forces.
Okay,
I
get you. So maybe that's where the Prime Minister's peacock went, is in the feathers of somebody's broom to sweep away all of the evil spirits and so on. You never know.
The jhare, I guess, yeah.
So let's move along now, because we're going now to our proverb. So we'll put that up for you, all right? And there we have it up. So let me try again with my terrible pronunciation. Haria Bartan Nakine Chulha Porde.
Yeah, Chula Porde.
Chula Porde.
Right. Now we did Bartan just now because Imanji Bartan, so we know it means dishes. Haria means pots. So the expression Haria Bartan means pots and pans, right? As one full expression. Kine means to buy, right? So Haria Bartan na kine, if you don't buy pots and pans, chulha ke horde, then break the chulha, right? In the essence, now again, remember, lost in translation, we try to get the meanings because the perspective of a metaphor is different from one language to the next. They actually use different things to express the same idea. And it depends on what is their social norm. So basically, it means the chulha is the ends and the pots and pans the means. So the ends don't justify the means.
Right. So that's why it's so important to give us that context, because as you said, you can lose a lot of it in translation based on, as you said correctly, cultural norms, because we may not, in our English Western, influence, we may not associate pots and pans and so on, and then the context in which you put it in. So it helps us to understand the proper context of that particular proverb. So we're going to the next element of it now, which would be the song. And before we play, just give us the introduction to the song that we're going to listen to.
Okay. So some of the words we use today in the kitchen, this is why I chose this song. But and a lot of people don't realize this, but whenever you have social commentary in songs like this, a lot of the positives and negatives that takes place in a domestic space actually is expressed. And this is one example. The daughter-in-law now having to live in the mother-in-law's house and do all the work. You'll see that here, as well as how she, her expressions as to how she doesn't like to do it. And it also alludes to women nowadays not being able to cook. So it'll be quite interesting for your viewers to listen and after we translate.
Well, that should be an interesting conversation afterwards. Let's go to the song now. Dr. Visham, translate for us now.
Okay, I just want to say is that, normally we'd play a chutney or something and people would know. Most likely your audience wouldn't know this one because it actually is sung by Mangru Badal. He is from Berbice in Guyana, and then he got married and lived in Nikeri in Suriname. So this is actually a Surinamese chutney / beta Ghana. So I am always impressed by these things that happen where I encounter songs that I never heard in Trinidad. Fazir, you think you figure out any part of the song?
I kind of lost, to tell you the truth,
Right.
because I'm glad you gave us the introduction before the start of it, that there's a lament about something going on there with the duties in the kitchen.
Good. And you hear it from the words, because some of the words we use, and I'll add some vocabulary. So the chorus goes curry powder, that's an English word, curry powder. Curry powder se bane tarkari masala pise na jane. Right. So it says that the daughter-in-law now, she makes or cooks with curry powder. She don't know how to grind masala. So long ago, you would grind your own curry and masala to cook. That's part of the domestic tradition. But these days you have curry powder, which you could get in packets in the grocery. So it's saying that she only uses processed curry powder that she would get in the grocery, and she doesn't know how to grind her own masala. So it's actually a tease for the daughter-in-law, making fun of her ability to cook or not cook. The next line goes, More dulahania batwa pakawe. One word we should add here is pakawe, meaning to cook. We should add that to the kitchen. And bhatwa is bhat or rice. So that she's cooking rice or attempting to cook rice. And upar se mare najare. And everybody's looking on to see if she could burn it or if she will cook it properly. So it describes the pressures the daughter-in-law has when she goes to the new house or her husband's house, when everybody is looking on as she cooks to see and put her to the test to see if she could cook. Because, I mean, that was the role long ago of the daughter-in-law, to be part of the domestic activities of the house. The other line goes, Saki Saheli Mangalagawe. So Saki Saheli means the woman friends or friends she would now gain as she goes into her husband's house. That they pray for her, Mangalagawe, they sing auspicious songs, and then they say Sab Beach me Lalachari means that they have fun as well when she tries to cook. Again, putting that to the test. The last line also goes part of that social commentary, because now the responsibility falls on the daughter-in-law to actually carry out these domestic duties. And the mother-in-law and father-in-law takes a break because they get a bahu or a daughter-in-law to do these responsibilities that especially the mother-in-law used to do initially before the children got married. So it says here, Mata Pita More Hai Sharabi. So that now they're enjoying and drinking alcohol because they have the time. They have the time to do it. They don't have domestic responsibilities. Ghar mein ladki kuwari. Now that we have a young woman who may or may not know how to piece masala.
Well, Doc, in a few seconds that we have left, my commentary on that is that for our listeners and viewers in Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, or anywhere, I am sure any aspiring daughters-in-law are telling the intended companion, if you feel I'm going to be in that, you lie.
Yeah, and that's a conversation really these days, because especially because women now have accessed education more than before, and they could be their own breadwinners. They don't stand for such anymore as a condition of being married.
And that really tells us a lot about the evolution of our own societies and the different cultures. Dr. Visham, we want to thank you very much once again. It's always informative, it's always enlightening, and as usual, you know, I always feel these various exams, but it does present us with reminiscences of our own history and cultures and so on. And indeed, for those who are not acquainted with it, to better understand one another, which is essentially what it's all about. So even as we go, just give everyone the contact information again for Caribbean Hindustani, because
if you're interested in learning Trinidad Bhojpuri, you could call 7782980, or you could go onto our Facebook page, Caribbean Hindustani, or website, caribbeanhindustani.org.
Dr. Visham Bimal, thank you very much again. And part 2 of our 4-part series in this month of May, as we head up towards Indian Arrival Day, which is a national holiday in Trinidad and Tobago to be noted on May the 30th. Well, let's check on the traffic coming into the capital city. Very little traffic because more and more places, even though they can open, are actually closing down. And because of the number of cases, the number of fatalities, we urge you still to be careful on the roads. And when we come back from the break, look at the gentleman just crossing the road. Just taking his own sweet time, going across the road there, right across the traffic. I don't know. Are we waiting until some real tragedy unfolds? But anyway, we'll take your calls when we come back on COVID-19.